guys, it's Mrs. Spells. Let's review the 5 main elements of a story. Plot: the sequence of events in a story in which each event results from a previous one and causes the next. Setting tells where and when the story takes place. Theme is the central message of the text. As we've already learned, conflict is a problem that the character faces, and there are 2 types: internal and external. Characters are the people, animals, and things that the author brings to life in their story. One way in which the authors bring their characters to life is through characterization, and we will be focusing on that for today's lesson. So what is characterization? It's the description of a character's physical appearance and/or their personality. There are 2 types of characterization. One type is direct characterization, which is when the author directly states or describes the character's traits in the text. Let's look at an example in Susie and Leah. When Susie was describing Leah, she said, "This one girl with 2 dark braids and bangs nearly covering her eyes." This directly tells us that Leah has black hair, she wears her hair in 2 braids, and she has long bangs. When the text directly tells us about the character, such as having dark hair or braids, this would be an example of direct characterization, which is usually used to show a character's physical appearance. Now let's move on to indirect characterization. Indirect characterization is when the author reveals a character's personality through their words, actions, or thoughts, or the words, actions, or thoughts of other characters. Here's an example of indirect characterization in Papa's Parrot. In the text, it states that Mr. Tillian joked and teased during dinner, showing us that Mr. Tillian liked to joke around and have fun. Thus, we can make an inference that Mr. Tillian has a playful personality. When a character says or does something to show their personality, that's indirect characterization, where the reader has to make an inference about the character's traits based on their words or action. When you come back into class, we will start the work period where you will be asked to describe your lead according to the direct and indirect characterization in the text. On a chart, you will need to provide a character trait, text evidence, and an explanation. Always be prepared to discuss your answers. Now let's look at a model of what you'll have to do. Here is the direct characterization model. A physical character trait for Yoli is that she's thin. My text evidence states Yoli was as slender as a tulip. This shows me that Yuli is slender, or in other words thin, since it's stated directly in the text. Here's the indirect characterization model. A personality trait for Yoli is that she is responsible. My text evidence states that she is a captain of crossing guards, an altar girl, and a wisdom spelling bees. This shows me that Yuli is responsible enough to take on extra tasks and do a good job in completing them. Alright guys, make sure to remember this model when you come into class. You will have this example as well as a character traits list available in class.
Created using Powtoon.